All right. It looks like I'm on live. First time around. That's great to see. Well, this is one of those opportunities where I get a chance to do a repeat. Before that, let me introduce myself. I'm Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey, and I am the podcast creator for Clear Blue Radiance. And I am broadcasting, as I do every Thursday, live as much as I can from Resident Essentials YouTube channel. And so I'm here today. I'm happy to be here. Great week so far. Life is what it is, but we should expect it and look forward to doing something creative and something better for ourselves. I'm a spiritual counselor. I've been one since about, I would say, a long time. I would say about 45 plus years. And officially, in the last since 2012 officially putting myself out there. So one of the things I like to be able to do is help people like yourself gain greater clarity with who you are, how you see yourself, and also help you with your purpose in life. Amazing. Hi, how you doing there, Jackie? You know, our purpose changes as we change. And this is something that we all have to realize. As our purpose changes, we change. And so, what you're going to find is we're going to be changing rather rapidly now since the beginning of this year. There's many astrologers out there, metaphysical astrologers have said that we have entered officially, fully, the age of Aquarius on the late Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday, which was January the 15th. And so that's roughly a month ago, right? And so we've had a greater window of 6 hours to kind of reset our mind. I would like to think that you got actually 90 days to a year to reset because not that many people are aware that they need to reset their mind, reset their actions and behavioral patterns and so forth. And we normally don't go that route or feel that we can go in that route or know that we're available to the route or the routes are available to us at that right at that moment. So there's something that we are consciously doing, which is always learning and always evolving. Not too long ago, someone asked me something. I think it was just the other day. Someone asked me that I know about the digital code 000100110. And my first thought about it, without trying to research it out, I know it's a binary code, but what I discovered just within myself, it meant reset, be able to reset, change your whole view, your whole outlook, your opinion, how you see yourself in the world, how you see the world, around you as well, and how you feel about yourself internally. And then when I did some research, I actually found a website that was called a binary code translator. Binary translator, www.binarycodetranslator or binary translator.com. And what you can do is you can go in there and you have several ways in which to see the code written out. There's this standard thing, which is ASC uh, 2, which is what most computers are supposed to be using, I get. But they had something, that dealt with octagon, 8 figures. And the 8 figures were 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those were the 8-digit positions for what they call the 7 or the 8. And then they had the 9 and they had the 10 and decimal points. What was very interesting, you don't have to know anything about computers. I sure don't. And what you can do is you can go to that website and you could type in a text, like one word or several words, and then it's supposed to compute it out symbolically in the 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, however it's going to be. It's supposed to take every letter with the space included and digitize it out to those codes, binary codes. And when I first did it, I thought I was going to find a short code. I didn't find that. I found a whole series of them, and all the positionings were the ones were different. And so, it's like, okay, for people that do computers, that's pretty interesting that your mind can only see two digits all the time, and that's involving the zero and the one, but it's where they are positioned, and then you see how they come out. And so I had typed in freedom from the matrix, and it gave me a whole series. However, the series, that particular binary code that the person was asking me about, wasn't in there. So then it clicked in my mind, where would I find it? And I thought about this gentleman out of Russia. He's known as a Russian mystic. In fact, his own government jailed him when he was helping people with numbers that he received and channeled up from deep meditation. His name is Grigory, which is G-I-R, or Grigori, Grigori, which is Russian for Gregory, and his last name is Grabavoy or Grabavoy, which you can find if you go to Pinterest. That's where I found a lot of his stuff, and I got one of his books, real thin book. I had to pay a bunch of money to get this thin book, but he's a guy that's a metaphysician, and the Russian government didn't like him because he was actually helping people overcome their diseases and illnesses, their financial stress, with all these different digits, and these are things that he acquired, and they represent a frequency, and they're not just the 001 whatever. He had that in there as well, which is the total mind concept. But what he also had was every other number, and then someone had something called energy circles, and they combined the energy circles with coded colors, and they put the numbers in the center, and sometimes with switch words. Put the switch words in the center, and it vibrates out a certain uh, manifestation in your mind and a materialization in your life. And so, you know, be careful how you get these codes. They're not what people think that they are, and they actually could cause you to get on the deep side of computer technology trying to look these things up, and they're not there. They're coming under, a metaphysical concept, an idea of spirituality. Okay, what I want to do is good afternoon. What I want to do is I'm going to also say too, I don't know, maybe later, maybe after this particular podcast on Resident Essentials YouTube channel, I might, when I sign out, I might jump over to my own YouTube channel and do a little something there for a while, and then maybe for about an hour or so. I'll see how I feel exactly about that. But anyway, the particular topic for today is your meditation moments are everything. The subtitle is You Don't Have to Do It from the Himalayan Mountains like a Tibetan monk, or even like an indigenous elder on the Sandia Mountains. Yeah, that's a mouthful, right? So it's better just to say your meditation moments are everything. And they are. And the more that we see things going on in the world, the greater need for meditation. So I want to repeat that again. The more things that we see going on in the world around us, there's a greater need for meditation. And there has always been, because we're living under a great deal of stress. If it's not a job, it's the neighborhood we might be in or surrounding areas of that neighborhood. It could be some stuff going on that you see, well, better yet, stuff you don't see all the time. A lot of things are happening in the world, and the news can't pick it all up, or sometimes they just pick up certain things to reprogram or keep the program in your mind going on, that has a lot to do with this versus that, them versus they, him versus her, and so forth. And so it keeps us from really cleansing ourselves, purifying our bodies and minds enough from old stagnated thoughts, so that we can step out, right, we can create a better world for ourselves. So it's often quite hard to do that with all this nonsense that's going on. And I just say nonsense just for lack of another word. It's not just nonsense, it's serious things that are going on. But those of us who are studying along the lines of spirituality, metaphysics, these things are a part of the house called philosophy. And philosophy is the science of life. And so, then we take it a further step, is the science of life and living. And so we're trying to find a better way to live in this world, this man-made world that has been placed in front of us. That is the matrix. But the spiritual matrix is where we are matriculating inwardly. And what we're striving to realize is that we are our higher self. We're not really separated at all. We are the higher self. And the higher self is the one who's sliding down within your energetic frame, putting itself in position so that you speak through it, right? You see through it, you hear through it, you taste through it, you touch, you sense through it. But once we become one with the higher self and start functioning as the higher self, then we move from this, what they call fourth density world, which is the heart chakra. We move physically out of the heart, and then we start operating out of the throat chakra. The throat chakra is the realm of being able to speak something into existence. It is our natural powerhouse. It is something that we are quite still unaware of. On the tree of life, they call it the abyss, Abyss, the hidden door. And so we step into that hidden space, and this is when we speak into the ethers and we begin to vibrate the ethers through sound in our voice. We're also vibrating the ethers through breathing coming up out of our lungs. We're also vibrating the ethers when all of that energy comes up out of the body and it starts working its way through your auric field. Then it works its way through out into the extended field. It gets so much into the etheric realm, and then it starts precipitating in the physical world, just like rain does with a certain kind of cloud and a certain kind of moisture and things. Where there's people say, where does rain come? Does it come out of the sky? No, rain is brought up out of the rivers and out of the lakes and out of the hamlets and bays and oceans, bodies of water. That's where the rain comes from. I was thinking of child said, wow, the energy of the universe is such, God is the universe is such that he just lets it rain at certain times. No, it's drawn up out of the bodies of water first. And once it's reached its certain frequency and capacity, when it starts to take on a sense of weight, mass and weight, then the clouds can begin to release that moisture back in the form of rain, sleet. What else we get? Snow. All right, rain, sleet, and snow. That's the way we kind of get in touch and we see rain and experience rain. And so this topic is all about getting ourselves together, gathering ourselves together in such a way so that we realize that every thought or feeling is a precipitation that we have internally going on. If we are truly emotionally angry or upset, those energies really impact the liquid in the body, mainly the blood, and then it goes in and it impacts and affects our cells in the body, and so on and so forth, where the organs start to shift, your skin starts to change. All these things are happening because we don't understand that we're actually in control of it. And so today is all about meditation and how we need to harness the energy that we gather from the meditation. Where do we when we harness it? Where are we holding it around or within the body? Well, we got seven chakras. We could hold them in any of those chakras, but it's best to hold it in past the solar plexus down into the navel area, three fingers beneath the navel and about 2 inches into the body. That is the second cauldron, as they say in Tai Chi. the Tai Chi Chuan or the martial arts, a second firehouse, okay? But what that is that's where the sacral energy is. And that's where you really want to hold it. That's the seat of creativity right there. And then when you move it past the genitalia all the way down into the tailbone, then that is the root chakra or the basic chakra. So that's where we want to really have it release. We're not supposed to so much always release it through the heart. I know that when I'm teaching, a lot of times I'm mentioning to people how we are, radiating this energy from our heart. We're giving it from our heart. We're speaking from our throat. We're radiating from the brow center, from the base of the skull on up. But in its true form, that's giving out the energy. In our true form, we have to receive it and place it and harness it down in the second chakra and hold it so we can release it onto the earth through the root chakra, which in Western means gets red. So we try to keep it there. We try to hold on to it and then release it there. And then it could basically liquefy itself, solidify itself, get rooted into the earth, and then we can stay connected to the earth a lot better, more firmer for ourselves. So one of the things I want to mention here, when I start talking like this, it seems that I get foggy with my glasses. Condensation. Precipitation. So one of the things I want to say here is that when we're working with this, and meditation is a gift unto itself. It is something that we automatically come into the planet with, and we're able to speak those words into existence. Why? Because everything around us is listening. Everything around us that we see, plant life listens to us. That's already been proven, as I said before last week when I was talking about the Japanese scientist um, Moto, okay, Isaru Moto, who wrote a book called Hidden Messages in Water. And he talks about that, how you can project your thoughts, and the water has consciousness. It hears, it feels our vibration, and then it gives it back. It radiates it out into the world. So this is something, a concept even within itself, you want to be thoroughly, thoroughly aware of, that when you get really angry, it affects the cells and the bloodstream and anything else in the body. If people are angry too long, put it this way, if people are angry too long over and over and over and don't acknowledge the anger, don't release the anger, don't change it into something else, then the body takes on aches and pains in the joints, in the spine, in the neck, especially. It'll start wearing out your hip joints. It'll start wearing out every joint on your body. Every ligament will start to deteriorate. Your skin will dry out. This is what anger does to the body. It stops the memory process. It constricts it. So therefore the cells aren't even communicating with each other. This is what happens when we get angry. But when we are emotionally excited about life, we have the passion and the compassion, and we get emotionally intense, emotionally excited, positive thoughts, positive feelings, then everything loosens up. Your whole body gets warm in a completely different way. Anger brought on heat, but the body overall warms itself up because it's excited. It's a part of life that's going on. So you want to know about these things and be aware. Just get some of those books and begin to study those books. There are many books from far back to Joseph Weed, who was a Rosicrucian, and he wrote a book called Wisdom of the Mystic Masters, which I have back there behind me. And he talks about all the different techniques that are basic techniques that you can use to heighten your awareness. Because the bottom line is, hi there, Golden Timeline 711. We want to heighten our awareness. We want to keep things going, keep things running smoothly around us in our lives, whether it's first of all with ourselves, with our health, then with the that's the community of cells, the body of cells within yourself. There's trillions of them. And if we can work on them consistently, we start to change them. Okay. And then those cells begin to release DNA and RNA patterns out of themselves. And we manipulate our entire appearance. We start looking younger, right? We don't look old. Our skin looks proper, right? It looks smoother, doesn't feel rough. We stand straighter. We're able to lock our feet into the earth. Press our heels more into the earth through our shoes and things that we have on. We start to eat differently. We don't. Some of us in this new age, because we're trying to align ourselves to it, or better than that, we're just trying to acclimate all the energy as it comes up. We have to find or realize, let me see, we have to realize that everything is changing. So if you were a person that fasted a lot, did a lot of fasting, you didn't eat that much, all of a sudden you find yourself having the ferocious appetite. You find yourself, you know, acting in your own house like you never had anything to eat. You go out and do some basic food shopping and you're reaching for candy. You're reaching for something to give you that feeling, that quick move. You are reaching for some salted nuts because you want that to go in your body. You're reaching for the non salted, non roasted nuts. That's excellent. But you start picking the right foods. Even if you didn't know anything about them before, you begin to pick the right foods. And it does happen. I'm not a vegan, I'm not a vegetarian yet, but somehow I'm beginning to follow what the body is craving. The body's not craving sweets, but it wants something that gives nourishment and gives a pickup, a high at the same time. Many people have asked me, well, you're a guy in the meditation. I know a lot of people in the meditation, Brother Francis, and they're going around using ayahuasca. I said, well, good for them. And they said, have you ever used it? And I said, no. Are you going to use it? I says, no. Why not? I said, because I know what it is to smoke marijuana. I did that in college. I know what it's like to take some uppers and downers. I did that in college. We had to stay awake to study for these outrageous exams. And as an art major, I had to go into the art uh, center and I had to sit there with 200 other students. And what we were doing, looking at thousands of slides. The professor would just be popping these slides up. He might say something about the era of time, the artist, but we had to recognize the style of that. We had to take that all in. And there's no guarantee because the guy was slick. He chose show us 1,000 slides of all the different eras of time that we had to know about: Renaissance, Impression time, Nouveau art time, Bauhaus time, which is the German art called the box house with their particular artwork. We had to go through all of that. Then you get to test time, none of those pictures were there. None. So, what does that tell you? Your brain can record information, and through your brain and your body, you can determine if something is in or out. And so we were able to do that as students. We were able to go, yeah, he showed us 1,000 slides. 2 days went past. Then we took the actual exam. We saw those slides at night. We took the exam during the daytime, and none of those slides were there. But then we say, what the style of the artist is there. And then we go into that, and we did well. So here's the take on this. Meditation is more important now than any other time. And the reason why I brought that example in is because we're constantly being pushed to change. Okay. So the media shows us a lot of things to the physical eye. It turns conspiracies and conspiracy elements into actual facts which aren't true. So you have to be careful of where you're sourcing your information from. People will bring you information and it's not true. I'm on TikTok. There's people bombarding me with all kind of stuff. None of it is true. They didn't do any research. They didn't go to Snopes or wherever they needed to go to, Scopes or Snopes, to find out if what they are saying is real. They didn't get into Wikipedia to see if it's already there. They didn't do any homework. They just took it from somebody else that said something and someone else that said something. So they took about 30, 40, 60 days worth of information, never clarified where it came from, and then try to tell you that it's true. Your inner gut feeling will tell you if it's true or not. Your inner gut feeling through meditation connects you to your higher self, and then you can determine. So, meditating daily is important so that you could serve yourself a better life and your discernment is clearer for yourself. Your gut feeling, your intuition is clear, your psychic energy is clear, and also your mental energy. Our physical health has been affected by syrups and pills and everything under the sun over the last 50 or 60 years. But within that pattern of 50 or 60 years, there have been people doing the research to try to bring you something that's natural so that you can use something natural to enhance your health on a bigger level without taking all these pills. Because one thing about taking pills, you don't know what's in the capsule. You're assuming that what the bottle says has ayahuasca or ashwagandha, whatever this other one is. But you don't know that. You don't know that. So you would have to use your meditation skills to tune in on the frequency of data that's in front of you, objects that are in front of you, pills, capsules, you name it, that your body should have a reaction to it. If it's the right thing, your body will let you know. There's a study called kinesiology that does that. And they put, like, let's say, a jar or a cup of salt in one hand, and in the other hand, there's nothing. But they'll do a test run. Tell you just stand up on your feet about shoulder width apart, and they'll take your hands and see if they can bend them down. Usually, they're easier to bend down by your shoulders or your elbows or whatever. But once you begin to hold this thing that's good for you, whatever that is, in one hand, the other hand won't go down. It's like an arm bar. But you put something in that other hand that the body doesn't need or the body's allergic to, that right hand automatically can be pressed down. So it's the same thing. Our physical health can go through these ups and downs and these frequent changes. Our emotional and mental wellness, we are always being bombarded by the news. That's why it's good not to watch the news anymore. Well, look, your cell phone is now your handheld computer. Your cell phone is your handheld computer. So you can flick that on at any time and catch up on all of the news. Then, of course, if you're touched by all that media stuff, which can change your frequency emotionally and mentally, where you worry all the time, where you doubt yourself all the time, where you can't even be intuitive anymore, psychic anymore, you can't even be empathic anymore because all that energy has been broken off from you. The bonds, the bridges, the ties that you have into the spiritual world, some of them have been broken off. So, how do you start to rebuild this? Well, one of the ways to rebuild this is through a pattern of deep breathing, where you inhale through the nose and you release the breath through the mouth. You do that about 3, 4 times. Each inhalation and exhalation counts as one rhythmic beat for yourself. So you do that maybe 4 or 5 times, and then you switch over to breathing through your nose only. Do not use your mouth. If you open your mouth slightly one time, that's all you need to recalibrate that energy. But other than that, don't keep breathing through your mouth. Keep breathing fully into your lungs and out of your lungs. because you're striving to clear the passageways. And once you begin to clear those passageways, this feels better because there's more oxygen coming through your body up into the brain to refresh your brain. I mean, the folds of your brain. You could have tension there too, and that tension can spread itself out through your back, through your stomach, your liver, gallbladder, your spleen, uterus, testicles. It can affect everything. So if you're not learning how to control the body and the mind through meditation, you're going to be at a loss to some extent until you play catch up. You see, so you don't want to put yourself in a position where you cannot change your environment. We're supposed to have, by this time, or by the time we hit 21 to 28, right in there, that's when we were supposed to be able to manipulate things going on around ourselves. That's when we were supposed to have been able to utilize telepathy with and interact with everything: dogs, cats, birds, snakes, insects, you name it. All they can feel. They don't see the thought. They feel the energy within the image, within the thought. That's what dogs and cats feel. So you can be this sensitive too. Meditation has been used in the sport worlds. The retired basketball coach, um, what's his name? I have him on my notes here. Phil Jackson, who in his earlier years, in his 20s, he played for the New York Knicks. But this was a guy that was in touch with his ancestral heritage, part of it being indigenous here within the United States, as well as other places. And he knew the importance of sage. So he'd be saging out the gym, saging out the locker room. He eventually got those players. These and this back in the day when Michael Jordan played and Dennis Rodman played. He'd get them into a moment where they do some meditation work, either before they get started or after. And the purpose for that, hey, Samara, the purpose for that is to make the person whole and then make the person connect into the team. So the team becomes a whole. And this is, all important during that time. And it paid off. I think they won about 3 or 4 championship rings. Now, some of them said later, which I don't believe, somebody like Michael Jackson, when they talked about, commemorating and the memorial of Kobe Bryant of the Lakers, Michael Jordan said he didn't believe in any of that stuff. I don't think so. I think he believed in it. He was just afraid to use it because once you get in touch with it deeply, it could actually shock your system. It could show you things you're not ready to see yet. It could show you how ugly your own thoughts can become. That you get to see. And through meditation, you get to experience the past, the present, and the so called future. So, this is important to know. One of the key factors will be visualization. So if you learn how to visualize, to see something clearly before you, then you stand a very good chance of prospering from what you can see with your mind's eye. That's the pineal gland. Your breathing and posture are important. You have to attend to it. You have to make sure you're sitting upright for yourself. When you do that, every time you do that, sitting correctly for yourself, then the meditation works faster. Okay. Now, I know this to be true because I've applied it to myself over the past 50 years. I can meditate to a level where I can get super quiet and I could still be doing things around in my residence, but I'm absolutely quiet. Why? Because I'm listening beyond my residence. I'm listening to the greater outdoors because I want things outdoors to be what I need them to be. So this is important. We have to latch on to something. We have to see something for what it is. We have to know what it is. But in order to know what something is, you must experience it yourself. I could not teach Tai Chi back in the day if I didn't engross myself into it. I could not teach Tai Chi in the park how to connect it with trees if I didn't do it myself. I wouldn't be able to teach people how to meditate if I don't do it enough times for myself. Meditation is highly important now. The only true TV you want to be checking out is your transcendental vision that you have within yourself. That's pretty cool statement there. It just came in. If you want to view the real television in your life, turn within and see the transcendental visions that you have. Transcendental means you're changing the form, which changes the outlook, changes how you feel about something, change the sensation around. When you do enough meditation, you don't respond to everything you see going on around you. Your mind will become clearer. You won't have somebody try to, as they say, hoodwinkle you, right? Try to put the wool over your eyes. Because meditation doesn't not only teaches you how to see in depthly into your own mind, but sometimes you can see the intentions of another person before they get into your environment. You'll know people so well and know yourself so well and your environment so well, you can tell when someone is trying to connect with you telepathically. Even if they don't know how to do it, you can sense that they are because they're thinking pretty strongly about you. And if you're clear enough, you can tell them the day, week, and time that you felt them putting that energy out there. I remember one time I worked at a so called Botanica out in New Jersey, but it was a metaphysical bookshop. And these two people of European descent, Italian, one of them was pretty good. One of them was actual reader. She was the naturally gifted reader between her and her sister. And her sister called herself joking around. I'm gonna see if I can contact Brother Francis River. I'm gonna see if I can put it out. See if he hears me. So I worked there like every Saturday. Excuse me, every second Saturday I was there of the month, and I was there every Friday, late afternoon into the evening, teaching and doing readings. So when I came there, the sister Kim wanted to test me. She says, "Oh, I was thinking about that." And I gave her the exact day, time, and then I was able to project and pick up the color that she was wearing. And she turned around to her older sister and says, "How does he know that?" She says, "I told you he's not somebody that you need to fool around with. He's more in tune with himself. He knows when there's something in his space, in his auric field, in his resonance that ain't supposed to be there." And this sister of hers would sit with some other people that they knew and see if they could put that energy out on me. So what I eventually started doing, once I started living in New Jersey, I started to intensify that white light energy, the shield energy. And I started putting just outside the white light and just inside the white light, I start putting a violet energy field moving. And I utilize that to block off, to peel back any negative vibrations. Because the violet light or purple ray, royal purple, is not just conscious wisdom and ancient wisdom, it also is an antiseptic and it will clear out stuff that you don't need in your life. Patterns of your own behavior, the behavior of other people around you, their words, their actions, their deeds, their intentions. It'll annihilate all of that. It'll literally delete it out of your system and cause it to go back outside of your auric field. We have an extended auric field, you can push it beyond there. So these are things we have to, learn how to do. I suggest that we learn how to meditate as much as we can. Do it outdoors, do it indoors, do it at night, nighttime outdoors if you can do it. We can feel comfortable. Wee hours of the morning. Some of the best times is 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. That's when you got more energy and oxygen in your lungs to work with, and your chi is heightened in your chest area, in your lungs, and you can get into your meditation. You can have out of body experiences, sometimes called soul traveling. Is what I call it. Some people just call it, astral traveling. But the word astral has been utilized too frequently, so you're no longer traveling. Excuse me. You're no longer traveling with the stars, so to speak, in the heavens. You're no longer having that experience within and outside of yourself. Why? Because there are changes going on in the world. High level frequency changes that can be mind boggling, that can stress you out emotionally, stress you out mentally, stress you out physically. Why? Because it's designed to cut off any connections into the spirit world, into the etheric world. It's designed to shift it. Now, I know people say AI is the way to go, and it can be, but be very careful when utilizing it. I have a system here online. What is it? My Gmail. And then I got Microsoft. Well, they're putting AI in it without my permission. They're just changing everything. So everything that you normally have is going to disappear if you're not saving it. Everything. It's coming through your TV set, smart TV, high definition. That was the start. But there's other things going on that we don't see with the physical eye. You would have to get over there with a pendulum and check the vibration to make sure it's organic and not some digitized stuff, robotic stuff going on. Because if it gets to be that way, it will affect you as well. If you ever walked by a big tower, I did it one time further down, got off the bus and I was walking to an area to have like a little pizza, and I noticed this humongous tower. I mean, huge. And it was like five people up there working on this thing. And there was one guy on the ground, and he was making sure nobody rides into the wrong driveway where they're at. And I asked him, "What are you doing up there?" He said, "Oh, this tower is now changing it from 4G to 5G." I said, "Interesting." He said, "Yeah, we'll be done in another hour or two. We're doing like two or three of these a day." So can you imagine the people who live closer to that tower, what's actually going on inside their system? What it is their system is under attack. Yeah, I thought about I thought about your uncle right around the first. I didn't know why though I was thinking about him, but I thought about him. And then, a lot of people have been transitioning. I had an older cousin who's very sweet and nice to me that became a minister in the last 20 years of her life. And she was older than me, about my brother's age, or a little younger than my brother. Me and my brother's same age, because um, my brother will be 77. So she was a year older than my brother. She passed at age 78. But she would have been 78 come, I think, May of this year. She would have been 78, and she transitioned. Then I had a close friend she transitioned February 3rd into the 4th. Then I had a longtime college friend, took me years to track him down. I found him in 2019. It took me 5 years, but I found him. He just transitioned the night after Super Bowl. So the morning after Super Bowl, wee hours of the morning. So interesting. His grandson said he got to see it. They got to watch something, and so pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, a lot of people are transitioning out now. Why? Because you got all the youth that are coming of age, the youth that are stepping up at 16, 18, 20. If you go by the cycles of seven, so 7, 14, 21, 28, right in there, they're becoming more solid and present onto the earth. And so All of these things are happening around us, and it signifies a great change that's happening. But what happens is we become the guardians of change. We become the guardians of change. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign off here. I'm doing this on Resident Essentials YouTube channel. Resident Essentials is now a nonprofit organization. Michelle Vidal founded Resident Essentials, and now she's moved it to a nonprofit organization. It is known as Resident Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics. Kind of like the sound of that name. And some things are advancing out for us. Hopefully, a brand new location. We have a temporary location to work from, and hopefully soon we'll have our own. That's our main goal, to have our own, for her to complete that so it can begin to branch out, because there are new people coming. We have some long-standing people, practitioners that live in the UK, that live in England, that are coming this way into the States to do some teaching. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. The whole idea is to be more consistent, and I'm one of the main practitioners that work through Resident Essentials. Excuse me, I work through Resident Essentials, and when Michelle can't be here, somebody's got to be here to keep these podcasts going. So I make sure I get mine out here. If you like today's show, come back about within, I think, within 30 minutes or less. It'll probably be in the system, and then you could send it out or just send the link so they can come here and view it again. Okay. And as soon as I clear my throat, I'm going to show up on youtube.com/@ symbol circle of grace one. I'm going to be on my own YouTube channel. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the courses that I'm teaching right now that are locked in, already started teaching. I'm going to talk about some other things and maybe do some questions and answers. So if you want to wait, give me about 10, 15 minutes, 10 minutes to clear my throat, make some changes, and I'm going to show up on Circle Grace One YouTube channel. And we can use it as a question and answer. There's a lot of things I still want to talk about that spirit. I need to be more consistent. I'm supposed to be on at least on a Monday morning or Tuesday evening to do these things, but so much is happening all the time. I'm getting to the point where I can't keep up with myself. I got some bookkeeping to do that I haven't even touched. And it's been a year. I need to get in there and tighten it up. So I'm gonna hopefully do some of that today. So thank you so much for joining me for today's Clear Blue Radiance channel repeat podcast called Your Meditation Moments Are Everything. I'm here every Thursday at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, usually. Try to be on right then and there for at least 30 minutes minimum, 45 minutes to an hour maximum time. Thank you so much. See you next week. Remember that divine grace is a blessing as we're alive and well in the age of remembrance. Give me about 15 minutes, and I'm going to be on my Circle Grace One channel talking some more stuff.